So the area I'm presenting on today is Invercargill. Now, if you've heard me talk about my property portfolio, you will all know I don't invest in Invercargill because it's not my area of specialty. But guess what? I have an amazing community and network. And so I've called on my community and network to help me get deep into the working mechanics of Invercargill so that I can share Invercargill as a hotspot with you today. So I'm here with Savannah, and I'm here in spirit with Therese, who I have some notes from. Hi, Savannah. Great to see you. Hey,
Hi, Belinda.
Hello. Can we just start with, where are you this weekend? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm sitting on the floor of the Ridges Hotel. I'm at the New Zealand Property Investors Federation Conference in Queenstown, and I'm here for 2.5 days. Got some amazing speakers and just expanding my property knowledge.
Amazing. So I wouldn't mind betting, and I don't know how much of my last session you caught, Savannah, but I wouldn't mind betting that this is building on your hope and your knowledge and probably your self-awareness a whole lot as well. And out of it, you're going to get action steps and results. Yeah. Does everyone see how that equation's applying to what Savannah's choices are right now? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So I do want to share with everybody what the deal you've just completed fresh out of your mentorship looks like. But what I promised to deliver straight up is actually what's going on in Invercargill right now as far as the property market goes, and why are we calling it a hotspot. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and obviously, guys, I've primed Savannah for this. She's been out to her network and her A team over the last week for me, collecting the information to deliver to you to these specific questions about Invercargill. All right, so Savannah, let's talk about, do you know what? I'm just going to start at the top, even though it's not necessarily logical order, because
Sure.
I haven't had a coffee. So I wanted to ask you about the council in Invercargill. Are they willing to work with investors and work on an infill strategy with you for subdivisions?
Yeah, from everything I understand from talking to people that have experience with that, the answer is absolutely yes. I personally haven't yet had to work with the council, but from everything that I hear, subdivisions are relatively easy. I know of one person that was able to put a minor dwelling on their property where that wasn't actually provided for in the plan, so council was quite negotiable there. And yep. I know of people that have like added bathrooms or replaced a fire, and that's all been quite straightforward, and they've had a good experience with the council.
Great. And I'm reading here from Therese, who's also very active in Invercargill at the moment. She says, yes, we've got great communication with the council. They always help when we've got issues or a question. We got a resource consent recently approved for a second dwelling in an area that wasn't zoned for it. So you can see that Invercargill is actively working with investors to solve their accommodation problems through using infill. Are rents increasing or decreasing in Invercargill?
Definitely increasing. Yeah, they've gone up. And I don't personally have any holds down there yet, but I'm very much keeping an eye on what's happening with that rental demand and that rental price. There is increasing demand as well and increasing prices. I know of one person who's increased their rents by $100 a week for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath property. And that's just over the past year that we've seen that level of increase.
Yeah, amazing. And that's verified by information in from Therese. She said $80 a property, it went up by $80 in one hit, and that rents are increasing a lot in Invercargill at the moment. Cool. Tell me about rental availability in the area, which is, of course, one of the key metrics for a buy and hold investor.
So it's certainly a case where there's increasing demand. So there are properties available, but they're getting harder and harder to get. It's getting easier to find good tenants though. And I have heard that the students are starting to come back, because you've got SIT in Invercargill, the Southern Institute of Technology, and they attract a lot of students, foreign students as well. And so there's an increasing market for rent by rooms and boarding houses as well. So I have my eye on that for next year to see what the options are going to be. So definitely a case of improving rental market conditions for property investors.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Savannah. And again, verified by Therese. She said rental availability is underpinned by really low stock levels in Invercargill, which I'll remind you back from the discussion we had with Ryan. He's all about the fundamentals underlying, and that's how we can also make some predictions or trend analysis over the next 12 months. So yeah, Therese agrees with that. Low stock, which is a fundamental. So Savannah, what strategies are you seeing from your network that are working down there in Invercargill at the moment?
Flips first and foremost, so trades, which is what I've been doing. And buy and holds can certainly work. Probably not going to be cash flow positive if you're 100% leveraged and borrowing the entire amount, but you do have really good rental yields in Invercargill compared to the rest of the country. So there's definitely opportunities to find that doer upper, add value, and if you've got maybe 80% LVR, you could easily be cash positive at the moment in these conditions. So there's options, and things are only going to get better, right?
Amazing. Thanks for that. And I'm going to make another point here before I read out Therese's answer. I did not get together with these ladies and have them script a response. But what Savannah is telling me right now, which I didn't even know what she was going to be, what answers she'd gone out and found. But I'm going to read nearly exactly the thing from Therese. She's like, flipping's working down there. Lots of people are having success doing that. And by the way, buy and hold is working if you're not completely leveraged. That's nearly exactly what she says here too. So the power of network and the quality of the answers are blowing me away right now. Cool. Is investor activity picking up down there or declining or sitting stably?
I think it's picking up. I certainly keep losing multi-offers a lot. So that says to me that investors are probably back in the market because I'm only making offers on properties that need an awful lot of renovation. So I think with the changing tides and the headlines we're seeing in the media now, that it's definitely picking up. And Invercargill has a lot of old housing stock. There's a lot of old villas, there's a lot of properties that need work where you can add that value, and certainly a lot of buyers out there as well.
Great. And Therese has been in the market for a much longer period of time. So to give you some context on Savannah, she only did a mentorship with me at the end of last year. Okay, so her period of time in the Invercargill market is relative.
It was this year. It was March.
It was this year. My goodness. There you go. March. Epic. So her time in the market is quite short. Therese says that investor activity is definitely picking up, and alongside that, open home attendance is picking up a lot. My goodness, I need a coffee. And that days on market peaked early in 2023, and of course this is the key metric for flipping, which is number of days on market. Peaked in early 2023 and is decreasing, and even more so rapidly now. So they're the next three questions for you, Savannah. Investor activity, open home attendance, and days on market. Can you talk to that for a second for me?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about open home attendance first. First home buyers are well and truly in the market in Invercargill, and that seems to be nationwide as well. There are a huge number of properties that are under the Homestart grant cap available in Invercargill, so it's a really great place for first home buyers, and we're certainly seeing that at open homes. It tends to be the younger couples coming in, and they're all excited and full of energy, so that's very exciting for investors. Sorry, Belle, what were the other two questions? I need a coffee too.
Well, I think you'd already answered investor activity. You said you thought it was increasing, yes. And I agree with that, because when you're going multi-offer multiple times, you know that investors at least are really quite active. The other one is open home attendance and days on market. Have you noticed any trends about days on market?
Days on market definitely improving. yeah, it's all heading in the right direction, slowly but surely. I think maybe a little bit slower than other parts of the country, because Invercargill tends to sort of lag a few months behind Auckland, or a couple months behind other parts of the country, as those trends make their way down there as well. Yeah, but investor activity, I know for a fact that I have been competing with even some people in this room with properties in Invercargill. So I know that there's a lot happening in that space for investors.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that insight. Savannah, I'm just going to take a moment to bring up a couple of slides about your latest deal. So the next questions I'm going to ask you around, just could you share in 2 or 3 minutes a bit about the deal that I'm going to bring up on the slideshow here?
Absolutely.
You can start talking if you like as I bring it up.
So fresh out of my mentorship with the wonderful Belinda, I was looking in a few different parts of the country, including Wanganui, Christchurch, which is where I live, and Invercargill as well. And so was making offers all over the show, but Invercargill was definitely one of my preferred options. So I found this property on Trade Me. It was listed with an asking price of $319,000, which for those of you in Auckland might seem nuts. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath brick. Had been very, very run down. Tenanted for the last 10 years. Apparently it stunk like smoke. As you can see, the bathroom's just beautiful, and it just needed a lot of work. So instantly, from looking at the photos, I thought there's a lot of value add in this property. So I was talking to the agent and got some information, ran all my numbers, did some research, and then put in an offer. I put in an offer of $300,600, just in case, the $600 sweetened things for them. I always like to go with some weird, random, odd number. Anyway, so my offer was accepted straight off the bat with 10 days due diligence. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't negotiate with me, because what the agent has said was the strategy behind the $319,000 asking price already factored in what was needed. And so they were wanting asking price. But yeah, so got it under contract for just over 300. Then I got the building report back from my due diligence, and the building report revealed that the roof was at the end of its life. And this was news to all of us, so it really needed replacing right away. And also that beautiful bathroom that we saw, that was an unconsented wet floor shower. And there were also just a few other minor bits and bobs that the report highlighted that weren't immediately visible to the eye when you saw it. So that gave me leverage to negotiate a significant price reduction to $260,000. Now, this was a divorce, and they were selling off their entire property portfolio. And so I had learned that information by doing some sleuthing on Property Guru. And so I got a yes out of them, because they just wanted it gone. They were sick and tired of it. So $260K, and the agent had said to me herself that she would have bought it at that price. So, you're doing well when the agent says that to you.
Amazing. Well done. Tell me when you want me to bring up the slide with the numbers.
Yeah, sure. Should we maybe look at the after photos?
Here we go.
The next one. Here we go. So yeah, I did a $95,000 renovation on this property. Went 10K over budget, but these things happen. So new roof, we painted the deck, interior repaint, new bathroom, new kitchen, new flooring, everything, new heat pump. The place wasn't insulated, so we insulated it. We installed a sump for drainage because the yard always flooded. We did everything on this house.
Yeah. Great. Numbers, the reveal?
Yeah, let's go to the numbers. So yeah, with the $260K purchase price, legals and due diligence about $6K. As we said, renovation was around that 93, 95 mark. I managed to get first tier lending for this one, being my first. It was originally going to be a hold, and then we changed our minds. So the holding costs weren't too bad, And then, yeah, we sold it for 420K, which was a multi-offer. So I was really stoked with that. And it was a cash unconditional offer.
Fantastic. That's epic.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
dream first deal.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. And one thing I didn't mention is I never saw this property before I bought it. And I didn't see it until the renovation was nearly finished. I didn't clean even a speck of dust in this property. I did nothing physically. And so for my first deal, to do it completely remotely, I reckon that 31K is pretty damn respectable.
I think it's absolutely epic. Hey, I'm just going to stop sharing now so we can bring up your lovely face, because I'm actually, hang on, that wasn't the right one. Stop share. That's better. Okay.
There we go.
I'm excited that you did so well on that first deal, and that you took the knowledge from your mentorship and applied it exactly and got the results. Yeah. But I'm actually even more excited about where you're going now and what's happened in the last week or two. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So I've had a weird and wonderful week. A few weeks ago, I'd put an offer in on a property. It was my first ever cash unconditional offer, so that was a bit terrifying. But in any case, it was rejected. It was a multi-offer, and I lost it. So I assumed that the successful offer had to be cash unconditional, or at least a significant ways above my offer. And then about about 3 weeks later, I got a call one morning from the real estate agent, and she says it's fallen through due to finance. And I'm just thinking, who on earth would take an offer that I learned was only $4,000 more than mine when you've got a finance condition? So I don't know what the vendors were thinking there, but it certainly worked to my advantage, because the vendor called me up. She said, the agent calls me up and she says it's fallen through due to finance. They really just need this sold. Would you resubmit your offer? Because if you do, it's yours. I won't go to all the other people that have been inquiring or that have been interested. Do we just want to get this done? And so I
Tell them
tried
what you
to
did then.
negotiate.
And tell them what you did then.
I tried to negotiate a little bit to get under the asking price. She wasn't having a bar of that. She sort of said, if you're not willing to offer the asking price, which is $299,000, that should go out to everyone else. So I just said, oh, look, that's fine. Cash unconditional, $299, let's do it. And that was signed within the next couple of hours. So yeah.
And that's amazing
on that.
Savannah, that's amazing. What you told me on Wednesday, how much less was the offer you ended up closing it for than what you'd originally offered?
Yeah, so my original offer was 306 and I got it for 299, so $7,000 less.
Not only did she close the deal, she closed it for less than what her original offer was.
Yeah.
And I think that's epic. I think it's cheeky and I think it's epic. I'm so excited. Not only did
Makes
she get
a good story, that's for sure.
She got it for less. Right. And then you said, but this is a bit of a complication, right? Because something else had just happened in the last few weeks as well.
Yeah, so I got some funding from a family member. This is the one that we're talking about, yeah?
Oh, yeah, you told me originally you're looking at doing one property at a time, yeah? And you'd actually just had another one under contract in...
Oh, yes. Yeah, so I actually have two under contract in Ashburton. At the time, I only had one. I've since got another one. And so the plan was to use the sale proceeds from the flip that we talked about before to buy this one in Ashburton. And that would be a subdivision, so I would be holding that for at least a year while that's going through. And so, yeah, an awful lot going on, and great problem to have though, right?
Yeah. And actually, you bring up problems. We spoke about a problem you realised you have a couple of weeks ago. So Savannah's really proactive. I've offered all the students I've mentored ongoing mentoring throughout the following year, right? And I've told them in the mentorship that scheduling mentoring catch-ups is a good idea, but I've not imposed it upon anybody that I've mentored yet. Savannah is my first mentee who said, Belle, I'm taking you up on that mentorship call every month, and she makes me schedule it, and we have it every month because she makes me schedule it, because it's not my job to chase up people that I can influence. It's their job to chase up me, and Savannah does. And so we have regular phone calls. And that's how I know so much about what's going on with her training 4 or 5 months after her mentorship. So we spoke about a problem she has about a month ago about money. And I just want to ask her to elaborate on that.
Sure, sure. So obviously have limited funds myself, just starting out, but I was able to successfully convince one of my family members to let me use some of their equity. And so they went to their bank and got approval for an equity release of $300,000. And that expires in December. And so I was thinking, okay, I have money. Now I need deals. Now I need properties. And it was a bit tricky for a while there because I had a period of about a month. I'd made probably 50 offers and I hadn't got a single yes. So I was feeling quite dejected, spent hours and hours and hours, and had this money sitting there with this December expiry date in mind, and just thinking, man, I really need to find this deal. I need to get a yes. And I was talking to Belle about it, and I just sort of said, what a great problem to have. I have more money than deals at the moment, and that very quickly changed, but it was a trying time. So my advice to anyone struggling with those no's is persist, carry on. You will get a yes sooner rather than later.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that, Savannah. And again, being mindful of time, I want to tie this up by going back to a question in the meeting chat before I come back to you, Savannah, for one piece of advice you'd go out and give everybody. So I'll give you a minute to think about that. The question that came up in the chat was, what makes an area a hotspot? Jess, and my answer to that is, I think we can safely conclude that Invercargill is a hotspot right now. But those questions that I ask Savannah and Therese, that's what determines whether an area is a hotspot for me. So it also may depend on what your strategy is. If you're a buy and hold, your hotspots might be different from what your hotspots are for trading right now. But the questions I asked around the metrics, that's what makes it a hotspot or not. That's how I define hotspot. So Savannah, I'll come back to you as we close. If you could share one thing that has prompted your journey to your results, what would it be that you share with everybody?
It genuinely has been leveraging off relationships and other people and building those networks. And I know everyone says that, and I've always understood, oh yeah, I know that's important, but actually doing this and being in it has taught me just genuinely how important that is. And I think that's one of the great benefits of having done this mentorship with Wealth Mentor, is that you're buying into the community. And I've been going to lots of property events and meeting people and just talking to people, and that gives you more information than the internet or a podcast ever could.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Ladies and gents, this was not scripted. I did not speak with Savannah beforehand about what she was going to say, but you've heard it here. That was one of the action items I gave you out of your mentorship too, wasn't it? It was a monthly action item, I believe, was get in and around a different group every month or commit to a networking event every month, because it will change your hope and your knowledge, and the rest of the equation follows from that. Thank you so much, Savannah.
I was just going to very quickly say, Belle, I'm actually really introverted. And so the networking and the mentoring, the building connections can be really exhausting, but it's absolutely worth it. And that's where a lot of my energy goes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Savannah. That was really valuable, especially that last piece of insight, because I know there'll be other introverts out there who get value from hearing that. Thanks again. Go back to your networking event. I hope you have an epic weekend, and we will talk next week.
Thank you. Have fun, everybody. See you.